Welcome to Tilly's Trans Tuesdays. Hey, it's July, and that means you're going to get my 5 years out and on HRT check-in. Let's see where everything's at half a decade in. Hi, I'm Tilly Bridges, your host, and I'm joined by my writing partner, my best friend, my wife, our token cis representation, the gal who's been by my side for all 5 of these years and then some, Susan Bridges.
Hello.
It is just us two this week because it started feeling weird to me to have a guest on to talk about my own transition milestones when everyone's journeys and timelines are so different. So this week, it's even more of us, and isn't that great?
It's great.
It's just us. Hi, babe.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm okay. You good?
I'm good.
All right, cool.
You're pretty.
Oh, thanks. You're pretty.
Oh, thank you. Before we get into it, I want to mention that this show will be off for 2 weeks after this episode due to all of the prep, travel, and attendance we have to do for this year's San Diego Comic-Con. It just eats up so much time and energy every year, and we still have writing deadlines and other things to keep up with on top of it, so it just obliterates our schedules. But we will be back on July 29th. Also, our con schedules are not finalized yet, but if you are attending San Diego Comic-Con, we will be on the IDW Star Trek panel on Sunday and doing a signing at the IDW booth. That is on July 27th. I will also be signing copies of Begin Transmission, the Trans Allegories of the Matrix at the Prism Comics booth 2144, likely on some combo of Thursday, Friday, and or Saturday. So keep an eye on my socials at Tilly Bridges on Blue Sky and the Fediverse/Mastodon for updates. Come see us. We would love to say hi. Okay, if you'd like to chart my entire journey on hormone replacement therapy and my entire journey being an out trans woman, check out my 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and 4 years on HRT retrospectives. The first 2 essays are at tillystranstuesdays.com, which I may revise to podcast episodes at some point, although it would be weird because they're time-dependent and old, but that is neither here nor there, so why did I even mention it? This is what happens when there's no guest. You get full, unfiltered weirdo Tilly. Anyway, the 3-year and 4-year retrospectives can be found in episodes 29 and 75 of this show.
I wasn't going to, say no. Unfiltered Tilly isn't weird, because you are weird. Yes.
In a good way, though, right?
In a good way.
You gotta add that part.
In a good way.
A good weird.
Yeah.
I'm a good weird.
Uh-huh.
As usual, I'm going to follow the same order of talking about things as my past retrospective, simply because it helps me be sure I'm not forgetting to track anything. So let's start with new things first, since there's nothing to compare to for those. In my 5th year, I realized I'd been wrong in estimating how long it's been since I knew I was trans. I've mentioned so many times in so many of these essays how I had a hard date in 2020 that I knew I couldn't transition before for personal reasons, so I took my time figuring things out. But I wasn't writing essays or even journal entries back then, so I don't know exactly when it was that I became sure of who I really was. I was estimating it at 2015, but this year I discovered a clue that made me realize it was even earlier. Because I knew when I made my character for the video game Dragon Age Inquisition, which released in November of 2014. I downloaded it and began playing it that day, and I always played women every chance I got for reasons related to trans tabletop role-playing games discussed in episode 113 of this podcast. And the woman character I made for that game? Well, it has very detailed sliders for facial customization, and I gave her an Adam's apple, so she'd be like me. And I remember doing it at the time and being like, well, there it is, huh? And I'm mad I didn't realize the Inquisition connection sooner, because I could have celebrated 10 years of knowing who I really am last year. Alas. So it's been 11 years for me now, and ain't that something? This past year, I got my first pair of heels. For a while, I avoided them because I'm already pretty tall and I didn't want the extra attention that being even taller would bring. But now, I do actually. So, as relates to episode 31 of this podcast on confidence and confidence 2 into the unknown, aka what is happening, aka a whole new world, which is at TillysTransTuesdays.com, I guess my confidence has grown even further. Aw, yeah. I got those heels for the Monster High graduation party, which was basically the season 2 cast and crew party, but themed around graduation because the show sadly hadn't been picked up for a 3rd season. Susan and I wrote 6 episodes for season 2 of the show, including the 4-part Monsterfest Halloween special that is just so trans. Anyway, they encouraged folks to dress up on theme, and so I did, including a shimmery purple Halloween dress, a graduation cap with a Monster High skullette with her own graduation cap on top that Susan helped me make. Actually, you mostly made that graduation cap yourself. I didn't know how. And really cute, chunky heels with little skulls on the straps. You can see photos of them in the text version of this topic at TillysTransTuesdays.com. I am not super great in walking in them yet, but I think I did okay. I definitely need to practice more, but I wore them outside, and now I can't wear them around the apartment to get more used to them without grossing up the carpet. And I haven't been able to afford another pair yet to practice walking in at home, so I wait. But I drove in them, spent 2.5 hours standing and walking in them, which kind of killed my legs, and after taking them off the flat ground, felt bumpy. That's weird. It's a work in progress. I still think I'll mostly be a super cute girly sneakers / stompy boots girl, but then again, until I can practice more, who can say? What did you think of me in heels? Was it weird that I was so much taller even?
It made it harder to take pictures.
Because I'm already so much taller than you, yeah. That's true.
And plus the hat was extra tall on top of it.
When you see the photos of the hat, it's not just a graduation cap, but then there's a skull and it has a graduation cap. So it was a very tall hat.
And the skull on top of the graduation cap is not a tiny skull. It is like...
It's not huge.
It's like the size of a baseball. It's quite large.
Oh, yeah, that's about that.
And then that we glued to the cap. And then we glued another cap to the
skull.
The skull.
So I was really tall.
So you were like up there.
Right. But so then, like, because I'm already taller than most people, I was absolutely taller than like everybody. And so I kind of dug that though.
Yeah. You could see over the crowd.
I
could see if there was still food left on the other side of the room.
It's true. But I like the extra attention, which maybe doesn't surprise anyone listening.
That isn't surprising to me. And probably not to anyone else. You're right.
I also got my first bikini last year. It's the first time I felt comfortable enough with my body to not only get one, but then take photos of me in it, because wearing it felt absolutely amazing. I still have not had anywhere to wear it to, but I only got it right when it started cooling off last year. So we'll see what this summer brings. You could also see photos of me in it in the text version of this topic. It is blue and pink and has flamingos on it. It is V cute, and so am I. I look good in it, don't I?
I'll be interested to see what it looks like this year, because I think your boobs are bigger.
They are. We're going to get there. But I mean, well, what was your opinion of me in the bikini?
I think it looks sporty versus super sexy.
Yeah. Well, it's one that's made for trans women.
Oh, I see.
So, yeah, it's not super skimpy.
Right.
It's more of it's more of a sporty bikini, but it's cute.
Mm-hmm.
I think it suits me.
I think it suits you, yes.
Thank you. I am still shaving my face every morning and my entire body once a week. See body hair in episode 112 for more. I still cannot get laser or electrolysis on my face for the same damned reasons I wrote about back in the pandemic transition essay at, say it with me please, TillysTransTuesdays.com. I didn't say it with
.com.
Not only am I furious that this last major source of addressing what dysphoria I still have remains inaccessible to me because our society collectively decided to abandon the disabled and immunocompromised again, but that with the current administration's anti-science and anti-vax stances, things are likely to just get worse and not better on that front. Kind of feels like I'll be doomed to shaving my face for the rest of my life, and I'm freaking salty about it. Photos remain great for me. Listen to episodes 91 to 93 for more. And even video has held out as being okay due to a combo of facial changes from HRT, episode 110, My hair, essays at the website, and my voice, episodes 45 to 47. I was able to record the intro video for the crowdfunding campaign for the trans sci-fi short film that Susan and I wrote and directed without issue, and that is super cool. You can see it on the crowdfund page for the film, which is linked in the show notes. By the way, that film is an adaptation of a comic we wrote, which itself sprang out of episode 24, Parents Who Will Never Know the Real You, aka My Dad. So if you are curious, listen to that to hear me cry my way through the entire thing. As a reminder, though, seeing ourselves in video can be a huge hurdle for many trans people, and certainly was for me for years. See Performative Allyship at that same website I've mentioned so many times.
PhyllisTransReading.com.
Thank you. For what happens when cis folks refuse to make the very simple, easy accommodations we need. Let's Talk Body Hacking is covered in episode 9, which, if you remember, was about the very first thing I did to transition in a quote-unquote socially acceptable way, exercising to make my body look less like it did and more like I wanted it to. You can see where things were at for me last year in the bikini photo I mentioned, with still more detailed pics in the 4-year retrospective essay. It's hard to describe where I'm at now, but easier to see, so check out the text version of this episode if you want to see my biceps and abs, and trust me, you do. I would certainly like you to see them. I don't know if it'll look like I've made any gains to you, but it certainly does to me. I've mostly only had the time to struggle to maintain what I've had for years now, but I've recently eked out a little more time that's allowed me to increase my workout some. I feel stronger, and I think I look it a little too. But I've only had this tiny bit of extra time for about a month as of writing this, so there probably isn't really a lot of visual difference yet. It's likely all psychosomatic, but if I have to will them to get bigger, I will. We'll see where I'm at next year if I have the time to keep up the increased intensity of my strength training. I'm also biking regularly on a stationary bike, which is new because on the day, weirdly, of posting my 4-year retrospective last year, I had to give up running. And it was devastating. Not because I loved it, I hated it actually, but because I'd never not run since using exercise to start my transition. And without it, I felt like I was losing a vital part of what shaped me into who I am. Again, listen to the body hacking episode for more on how and why this was actually much more serious for me than you might think. Luckily, the stationary bike has allowed me to keep things up and is even, in some ways, better. But there were a few weeks when I was in emotional anguish over not knowing what I was going to do. But biking indoors for my cardio means I don't need to wear my hoodie anymore, my cape, my very first piece of women's clothing that I ever owned that gave me early hits of gender euphoria, essay at the website,
PhyllisTransReading.com.
yes, and made me feel like I could fly. It sounds silly, but I miss it, and I haven't figured out what to do about that yet. I plan to write more about the loss of running and what it did to me emotionally, but I just haven't gotten to it yet. It is on the list for someday. Let me ask you, as a lady who looks at me more than anybody else probably since we live together, do you think my muscles look bigger? Do I look any stronger to you?
I don't notice things, and you know that.
Look at it right now. There's my bicep.
Okay.
Does it look bigger than last year? I'm flexing on Mike.
No.
You don't know. What help are you?
I'm not hopeful.
Thanks for nothing.
Okay. That's fair.
Wow. I almost spit out my water. My hair, again, essays on the website.
PhyllisTransReading.com.
I love having you do that.
Oh, okay.
Remains vitally important to me and my identity and who I am, but I had a bit of a setback with that this year as well, which is also another essay for another day. But otherwise, all is well in that department, and I love it with all my heart. My tattoo, as discussed in episode 55, remains amazing, and last year I mentioned I'd figured out what was making post-transition photos of me without it feel wrong, and I said I was going to do an essay about it. Also haven't gotten to that one yet. Ha! 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 Good times. The list of future essay topics just keeps getting longer. Voice, again, covered in episodes 45 to 47, remains good, although it feels a little scratchy now. This is our third one we're recording today and getting a little tired. I feel really secure in it most of the time, and though I still catch it slipping sometimes if I'm really tired or emotional, for the most part, it's been really great. And I even feel like resonance, the hardest part, is starting to come more naturally without my thinking about it. Slow and steady wins the race sometimes, especially in transition. Let's talk HRT. For more on the basics of it, see episode 110. My estrogen injections are still going really well, or rather the results from them are. Sometimes I still struggle with giving myself a shot, and it's been nearly 2 years of them now. And sometimes I mess them up and have to do over, and that's probably just the way it's always going to be, and that's okay. I did change up how I take my progesterone, however. Other trans women have long said that boofing it, taking it as a suppository, gets you better results because it doesn't get processed by the liver then, and the liver destroys most of it when the pills are swallowed. But boofing just did not work for me. See episode 20 on Anecdotal Trans Healthcare for more on how we have to learn these things from each other. But then I remembered that when I was on the estrogen pills, before they entirely stopped working for me, see episode 28 on transition setbacks, that common knowledge among trans women was that taking those sublingually, letting them dissolve under the tongue, got more of the actual estrogen into your body because the liver destroys most of that when you swallow it too. So I tried taking progesterone sublingually. I've tried to explain the taste of it to people, and the best I've come up with is, it's like despair wiped through a dumpster, a medicinal peanut left in the sun for 18 years. And I stand by that. But I cannot argue with the results, which you can see respectfully in the text version of this essay at
TillyTransTuesdays.com.
I still wish my boobs didn't seem to be miles apart. I have broad shoulders and chest thanks to the wrong puberty. Hooray! And I certainly wouldn't mind if they were bigger. I'm still at a C cup, though a fuller one than I was at before. I don't think I need to go up a cup size again, but if they keep going, I am not going to complain. I am 99% sure that I don't want top surgery. It was something I considered at the beginning, and while it would certainly make them bigger and potentially also get them to be closer together, they wouldn't be the same as they are now. Obs. But I've come to love how they are now, because they're all mine. I grew them. Me. And all it took was the right hormone telling my genes to activate the info they've had in them all this time. They were always in there waiting for me. They just needed to be switched on, and I find that incredibly beautiful. Which is not to make anyone who wants breast augmentation feel bad about it. We all have to do what's right for us and what makes us happy. And right now, my boobs make me so exceedingly happy just the way they are, even if they live in different zip codes. So you mentioned before, when I was talking about the bikini, that they've been bigger, as the only person besides me who gets to regularly see them.
Yeah.
Have you noticed for sure? Do they seem bigger to you?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yes.
I could ask you if they feel any bigger, but that might be pushing our PG-13 rating.
Yes, it might be doing that.
But you are my wife.
I have taken into account all of the data that I have at my personal disposal, and I believe they are bigger.
Okay. How was that data obtained?
I'm sorry, I can't speak to that.
There have been no other changes to my tiny butt or my little hips, sadly. Come on, grow more, damn you. But I recently got the first photo where you can actually see that my hips are there, and oh, the gender euphoria. Find that photo and the gender euphoria essay at the website. Weirdly, the period symptoms I used to get have all been vanished over the past year. Why? Who knows? Will they return? Who knows? Why study trans people? Nobody cares. I don't really miss getting periods, although they were a little affirming in their own awful roundabout way. But it's interesting they've hit the road. Maybe they just went on vacation and will come back with a vengeance to see I've been partying while they're out of town. I'm still not overly thrilled with the backs of my hands or my fingers. I have seen trans ladies that have gotten visual shifts in how their hands appear from HRT, but so far nothing like that has happened for me. The mental changes HRT has brought remain just as good as the boobs and the butt and the hips and the facial shape and other physical changes. I feel calm and at peace and delighted in myself inside my own head all the time, and it's an absolute miracle. The state of the world notwithstanding, bigots will not take my joy. I feel like I've absolutely zeroed in on my style, though. And it's not really shifting. It fits me so perfectly, and I'm so happy with it. Check out episode 33 of this podcast on finding our trans style for more. And so I will then close out with the traditional timeline photo, which continues to amaze me in so many ways. But sadly, I could not stuff the photo into here in audio form. So you will have to go to the website to look at me getting to be more me with every passing year. Gosh. What's that website?
TillyTransTuesdays.com.
Only one thing I just recently noticed in looking at my timeline photo is that you can watch my eye color change. They get greener every year. That is wild. And yes, this can happen. There are estrogen receptors in the eyes. See the episode on hormone replacement therapy in episode 110. And that is a wrap on year 5 of medical and social transition. Have you noticed any other big changes in me in the past year?
Yes, you don't buy clothes all the time anymore.
Well, we have not had much money to do so.
That is also true.
That's a big part of it.
But
financially, I am less able to buy clothes this year than I have been before.
Yes, but for a long time, it was a lot of in and out, in and out, in and out with clothes. And I think now you have favorites and you have things that you wear more consistently, and you're not always looking for the next perfect thing, I think.
Well, I am very happy with the things that I have.
Yes.
This is not that I don't want a nice new dress or this cute top or whatever, but I'm not. You know, that's a great point that I hadn't realized, because before I would have sites that I would check almost on a weekly basis to see if they had new stuff that I liked that I would want to get. And I don't feel the need to do that anymore because I have enough that I really love now.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're very observant, very wise.
No, I'm not very observant.
Well, to pick up on that.
Not true.
Is very good.
I suppose that is true. But I don't think you can buy one more dress without getting rid of a dress, because...
Listen.
I think the wardrobe is going to explode if you put one more dress in it.
It might. Only one way to find out. Kaboom. Anything else that you've noticed?
I think you're just more comfortable.
Even more than last year? Like you've noticed a difference? A shift between
year
like 4 and 5?
A lot of times you would put on an outfit and fret about, is this showing, or can you see this, or does this seem okay?
Yeah.
I do that a lot.
I was always asking you to double check my stuff.
Yeah.
Or even when I put makeup on, I would always be like, did I do it okay?
I mean, you still do that sometimes, but not very often.
Well, the lighting in our bathroom isn't great. Well, so sometimes I need you to check and be sure I did it evenly or whatever. But beyond that, yeah, I used to be much more trepidatious about things. Like I would somehow be broadcasting to people I was doing girl wrong or whatever, you know? And now I don't care as much. I'm like, it's okay. If I do it wrong, maybe I did it wrong on purpose. You don't know.
Yeah. That's it.
The end?
The end.
Okay.
We're done now.
Well, that is a wrap on year 5 of medical and social transition. I never could have imagined the real me that was waiting on the other side, and how happy I'd be with her, and how delighted I'd be to see her in the mirror every day. You owe it to yourself to find the real you that's waiting for you, too. Whatever it takes to get there. Tilly Bridges and Transmissions. Tilly's Trans Tuesdays is hosted by Tilly Bridges and Susan Bridges, with audio editing and sound mixing by Jillian Morgan. The written essay version of this week's topic and all past topics is available at tilliestranstuesdays.com. Special thanks to Daisy and Jane for the use of Sorry Not Sorry as our show's theme music. Please stop by and show your support at daisyandjane.bandcamp.com and soundcloud.com/daisyandjane. You can find me at Tilly Bridges on Blue Sky and on Mastodon at Tilly Bridges at mastodon.social, and you can find Susan on those at Susan L. Bridges. You can find Jillian at Audio Jillian on Blue Sky. You can join the Tillyverse Discord server by following the link at the very bottom of tilliestranstuesdays.com. We hold regular watch parties for the Matrix films and other trans movies, where I do a live Q&A, and it's blossomed into a wonderfully supportive, compassionate, kind community of friends. We'd love to have you join us. If you'd like to keep up with all the writing that Susan and I do, you can sign up for our newsletter at birdguestbroadcast.com. If you enjoy this show, please take a moment to leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts. The largest segment of our listeners find the show there, and more reviews equals a higher profile, which means it will reach more of the people who need it. Thank you for your support. For more information, visit pendantaudio.com. Thanks for listening. I'm a good weird.
tilliestranstuesdays.com